This felt like such a good idea. If you're watching and not listening, you will see that I am at the beach. I want to say welcome to the Health Chats podcast from beautiful Pereranon Beach, Bali, Indonesia. It only felt right for me to record my 52nd episode, one whole year of podcasting from a location that was just a little bit different. And what better place than a beach? To give context, just worked out. On my way here, I grabbed some food. You'll see my food. Something I love about Bali is most restaurants you go to have meal prep friendly options. And at this current phase of my life, I am tracking macros. I'm working towards being my healthiest, leanest self with a coach. And I stopped there on the way at this place called, oh no, it's not even on here. I don't want to wreck it because I actually chatted with the owner. He was there about potentially having him on my podcast. I wish I had the name of it. Maybe if I open it up, we'll see. I'm going to clip my mic onto myself somewhere. If you're watching, here's the luxurious meal I'm eating. I'm eating beef with vegetables and sweet potato. I'm going to take a bite because honestly, I'm very hungry. It's delicious. Ooh, a little bit spicy. Okay. So what do I want to talk about today on this podcast? I want to talk about the mindset that I had to create in order to record 52 podcasts, many of which were with guests. I would say about 50%, probably less actually, were with guests. That was one of the hardest parts of creating so many podcasts. But let's talk about mindset and consistency, because I believe how you do one thing is how you do all things. I also know that I'm not perfect, and there are many areas of my life where I'm a slacker and I could show up better and I could be like super extreme and intense. And I used to live that way, but I didn't like when I lived that way. I felt like it was pretty detrimental to myself as a human. I've spoken on here before about the hormonal issues that I went through because of such extremes in my fitness and in my nutrition that, it was just not healthy. And so what yoga has taught me is finding more of a balance, my favorite word ever, of those extremes of taking care of my health, of meal prepping and being mindful of what I'm eating, and also having an ice cream date and not beating myself up because of it. But before that, I want to go back to mindset. So I hired a mindset mentor years ago, trying to get him on this podcast. I'm not going to name drop him yet. And worked with this person for 3 months. And in those 3 months, I had so many breakdowns. When I do things, I go all in. So I invested into this coach and I was like, I'm gonna just be my vulnerable, true self. This is my first time doing anything big like that. And the biggest takeaway, I would say, from working with someone specifically on mindset is that it is literally all in our head. If you hold yourself back from doing something, there is no one other than yourself who is telling you you are not able to do that thing. And I know it is so easily said, like easier said than done, Kelsey. But at the same time, doing the hard thing versus choosing the path of least resistance, aka what you've been used to, the same routines, the same rhythm, even if they're healthy, like say they're healthy, but you know in your inner being that you are made for more, you have this higher potential. Choosing the path that's hard versus the path you're choosing, both are actually hard, because the path you're choosing is keeping you in the same place and you have this internal voice in your head that you continue to battle with, and maybe this is like really resonating with you. There's someone I know who's listening this is resonating for. And you have that internal dialogue that's like, man, like I wish I could just start a business, or I wish I could just go travel solo, or I wish I wasn't in such an unhappy relationship. I wish I had a better job. Like you have these internal thoughts that, yes, well, maybe you're like pretty comfortable in it, you're actually so unhappy deep down, and it's really hard to be that unhappy, to be honest. I would argue just as hard as failing forward, starting the business that doesn't succeed, going on the trip and being really lonely for a little bit, ending the relationship and going on some weird dates afterwards and thinking, oh, I found my person, and then you realize, oh, this is not my person, this is a rebound. Like, it's hard either way. And I feel like such a mindset bro saying that, but what if I know anything about mindset and life transformation, it's that it really does come down to the fundamentals. Like it's everything that you continue to hear over and over and over again from your favorite influencers online, or from the book of the author that maybe you read this book over and over again. Like I know people who read Atomic Habits 1,000,001 times because they just know that James Clear, the author of that, is so good with how he words things. And so to start a podcast, what does it take? What does it take to start? And what does it take to commit for a year with zero money, by the way? I've made $0 off of this thing. I have not been paid. This is not a financial project by any means. And honestly, pretty low views, if I'm being completely honest. I stepped into this journey really from a place of pure passion. And I'm eating my food as I do this because otherwise it's gonna get cold. Even though it's like super hot here, it's like 40 degrees at 6:30 p.m. So anyways, back to the podcast. So what does it take? I've had people message me on Instagram like, I would love to pick your brain on like how you get started on doing a podcast, or how did you get started on a coaching business? And I don't want to pretend that I'm like the podcast guru or a business guru. Like I am not any of those things. But if I look at anything I've done in my life that is worth doing, like even starting Humankind, I did it with fully no idea. I just like stepped into it and was like, I guess we'll just see if this works. And I think that scares a lot of people because people love certainty. Majority of people love certainty. They know that if they go to their job that they complain about, I don't mean to shit on people, they go to their job, they'll get a paycheck every 2 weeks, and they'll comfortably be able to pay their bills, and they kind of just like live in this routine of knowing. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. We have 6 human needs, basic needs as humans, and one of them is certainty. But another one of them is uncertainty. It's adventure, it's spontaneity. And I think in that journey of seeking your potential, of becoming the best version of yourself, you do have to lean into that. But on the same coin that uncertainty exists is a lot of fear. And fear, which is fully real, feeling that feeling of fear, many times it also is so made up in our mind. Like my first coach, what he said to me is, if you can't physically hold it in your hand, if it's not a tarantula that could maybe bite you and kill you, like I don't know, maybe it's poisonous, I don't know anything about tarantulas or spiders, but if you can't physically hold it in your hand, it is fully made up in your mind. And I'm like, damn, that's so true. And people might not agree with that, but I remember when he said that to me, it really landed, because I had all of these fears when I way back before even starting the podcast, started my business, where I was like, well, what if I fail? You know, what if I put myself out there and it just like, it doesn't work? And looking at that now, it's a funny fear, because I stopped myself from even trying at all, which was already failing because nothing existed out of it, because I was so scared that trying would lead to nothing. So either way, I'm in the same place. I either do nothing and I get nothing, or I try and I fail and I get nothing, right? But that path of trying and failing at least teaches you something that you won't get from not even trying, right? And so back to starting a podcast and getting to 52 episodes a year of podcasting, I think if I had to give anything tangible, it's everyone has a phone in their back pocket. We all have smartphones. That's what I've recorded every single podcast on. At the beginning, I was recording it on my laptop. Actually, I don't even think I was recording some of them. I have not purchased a podcast mic this entire time. I've been using a DJI mic, which works perfectly fine for what I'm doing right now, which is just chatting with humans about things I'm interested in. And it's free to upload to Spotify and to YouTube. The only thing I pay for related to the podcast is called Riverside. It's an editing software. It just makes it easier for cutting out little moments where I'm like, but, you know. And if I would say I learned anything the most from this podcast about myself, it's that the more you talk, the better you get at speaking. So if you're someone who listens to this and you're like, man, I wish I could talk like her and I wish I had the confidence to speak, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It absolutely will not just like poof happen. Also, it's so beautiful out. I feel like it's probably too dark, but I hope you can still see me and where I'm sitting right now. The distraction mind. But yeah, it doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It doesn't. Like, I wouldn't even say that I'm that great of a speaker. I would say I've gotten really good at putting my thoughts out into the world, into words, but I still do know I have quite a ways to go. And so that's sort of what keeps me going in this, because I believe when you find your voice, when you feel confident being able to speak your truth, your mind, your opinions, especially if people aren't going to agree with them, then I think that's when you truly step into your authenticity and your power. And so on that path to finding your potential, if any of that resonates for you and you're maybe like a couple steps behind me, like maybe you haven't started yet, but you know you want to, this is your sign to just do it. This is absolutely your sign. From a girl who grew up so shy, who had to whisper in her mom's ear, hey mom, tell them this. That was me when I was little. To the same girl who would be in like junior high and high school, and anytime I would pass by anyone who wasn't like my one or two friends, I would put my head down because I was too scared to make eye contact. The same girl who has run events with 70 plus people in the room and talked up there and stuttered and sweated and was every embarrassing version of myself, to the girl who now teaches yoga classes to people on a weekly basis. I haven't taught in a while because I've been traveling, but that's my goal out here, is to just figure out how to do it, which is normally how most things that I do start. It's just figuring it out, and then it eventually lands. So I'm going to wrap this up, particularly because it's dark and I don't think you can see me, but I'll wrap it up by saying I'm not perfect. This is as simple as it could get in terms of a podcast. But what I know is it doesn't feel like work. It is fully passion driven. every time I do it, it feels like the first time, and I get excited to do it again. There's no drive by money in it. And I think if you can figure out what that thing is for you, and you just like lean in, go all into it, it'll bring you things that you just like can't even expect. It might not be money, to be honest. It might be relationships, it might be connections, it might be knowledge, it might be experiences. Like, who really knows? So, thank you for listening. If you've been here for the entire year, the entire 52 episodes, let me know. Comment below. Send me a message. Send this to someone who needs an ounce of inspiration in their life or a little kick in their butt to do the thing they keep talking about. And I hope you have a good day, good life, good evening, whatever it is for you, wherever you are in the world. Peace and love. Bye.